Hello and welcome to the final part of this dungeon build-along series. But before we get to the last part of the adventure itself, we are going to need to make a couple more things first. So let's get started on those. Okay then, this next piece is made in the same way as the doors. So here I've glued one of the drain patterns to some corrugated card and cut that to size. And I've also cut out the other side of the drain, which then just needs gluing to the back. As I say, it's the same way that we made the doors. So, there you go, that's the first part done. Okay, so I've also took the base texture and glued that to some thin corrugated card, and all that's left then is to glue the two pieces together. So, there you go, this is the kind of thing that we're aiming for, and we will be using this in a similar way to the doors, except that this time we'll use it to block off an exit instead. So, yeah, something like you just saw. Anyway, another thing I've gone ahead and made off camera is the overlay for the secret stairwell, which, as you can see, has just been glued to some card and then cut to size. So, yeah, that's that done as well. Okay then, for this last piece, we're going to make a little pile of treasure. So, we'll take this texture here, and a piece of thin card. I'm actually using a bit of empty toilet roll tube, and we'll just glue the silver tray to the card. But before it dries, we'll take something a bit squishy, like an old mouse mat or something like that, and the large marble that I mentioned in the first episode. And all we're going to do is try to give the silver tray a bit of a curved shape, just by pressing the marble down and rolling it around on top of it. So, something like that. Then, when it's dry, we can cut it to size, and that should result in this kind of thing, though you can go back and do the thing with the marble again if it's still looking a little bit flat after you've cut it out. Anyway, next we'll take the book cover and the picture frame and glue those to some more thick card. And then cut both of those to size. Next we'll cut out the pages of the book and give them the same kind of shape as the stone version that we made in part 3. Then, just like we did in part 3, we'll glue one of the pages to the cover, but this time we'll also glue another page on top of that, just to make it look a bit more realistic, which should, hopefully, result in something that looks like this. So, that's the book done. And the last thing we're going to make are a couple of scrolls. So, we'll first cut out one of these textures, and what I like to do is roll that around a toothpick first, just to get the kind of basic rolled up shape, and once I've done that, that's when I'll try to roll it up as tightly as possible, like I'm doing here. I'll then apply some glue to the end of the paper and continue to roll it up until the whole thing is stuck together. Basically, this is the kind of thing that we're aiming for, and we can make 2 of those. There you go. Right then, now all of that's done, we'll just need to make a base by gluing this texture to some more thick card, and then it's just a matter of gluing all the little bits on top. So I've started by gluing on the picture frame first, and as you can see, I've used a generous blob of hot glue just to make it look like it's resting on top of something. And then we'll just need to glue on the rest, and sometimes I'll use the glue stick, other times the glue gun, or like you can see here with the scrolls, sometimes I'll use a tiny bit of PVA. And it doesn't really matter how you go about it. At the end of the day, all we're really trying to make is something that looks vaguely like this. Just a random pile of treasure that we can add to the final room. Okay then, so now that everything's built, we can now get to the final part of the adventure. So, last time we ended with the party collecting the last 6 puzzle pieces, and now that they've done that, they can return to the main chamber, and all they'll have to do is solve the puzzle by inserting the letters into the correct holes. You know, to spell out the answer to each of the riddles. So, the answer to the first one is soul, the second one is jump, the third is blue, and the last one is hand. And once that's done, the floor begins to shake, some of the stone slabs start sinking into the ground, and eventually a secret stairway is revealed, one that leads down to the next level. However, this is actually a 2-part puzzle, and some of you might have noticed that some of the letters, they are a bit bigger than the others, and if a character removes all of the smaller letters, just leaving the larger ones in place, that also spells out the word open. And if that's done, the stone door slides to one side, revealing a secret treasure room beyond. And as you can see, for this room I've added the junk and the chest from Season 1, as well as the treasure pile that we've just made. And it's up to you to decide what kind of treasure you might want to put in here. Maybe some of it hasn't really stood the test of time and is now pretty useless, hence the piles of junk, but other stuff might be quite rare or valuable, possibly even magical. But like I say, that's for you to decide. However, if you don't want to use the puzzle in two different parts, maybe you want to use this as a standalone location and don't really want it to lead down to another level, then I have also included regular sized versions of the open letters as well. So maybe in your version of the encounter, completing the riddle, that just opens the stone door and you can ignore the secret stairs altogether. And yeah, I think that's it for this level. However, I do want to point out that all of the miniatures that I've used in these last few episodes, they were all supplied by Wargames Atlantic, so I do want to say thank you to them, and if you're interested, there'll be a link in the description to a review of these models over on the blog. So thanks for watching again. Hopefully there's a few ideas here that you can put to use in some of your own games, and I'd love to hear if you actually plan on making any of this stuff, and feel free to post pictures over on the Discord or the Facebook group if you do. But yeah, thanks again, and I'll see you next time.